Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us for the Friday noontime show as we get your weekend started early. We're going to get very local here in Providence. If you've been around the east side, you might have seen some of these signs cropped up. Save neighborhoods, enforce zoning laws. Maureen Taylor, I appreciate your taking the time to come in and talk about this campaign. We've seen what has happened at the city council level with an ordinance proposed by Councilman Seth Yurden addressing the number of unrelated students to be living together, and then saw him reverse his position. But this is a campaign that's been going on for a while as we've seen developments in student housing in essentially, the borders of a residential and then the college campus. So let's talk about when these signs were made.
We made these signs a few months ago, and there is already an ordinance before the city, which is for 3 unrelated students in a dwelling unit for 2-family houses. And Councilman Sam Zurier put that forward, and it's gone through the City Planning Commission, who approved passing it, and it's sort of held up right now with the City Ordinance Committee. And what it's all about really is density. How dense do you want your neighborhood to be settled? And this is not just an East Side issue. This is all over the city.
Rhode Island College, Providence College.
It's all over the place. And we didn't realize just how much of a problem there was until we came up with the signs, and then people started asking us for signs all over the city. And so what happens is, traditionally these are 1-family or decade-long single-family occupied houses in residential neighborhoods, meaning R1 or R1A. That's the designation for that neighborhood. And it's not a huge part of the city, for the most part. But developers have been buying up houses like this all over town. And then the question becomes, how many is too many? The ordinance put forward by Sam Zurier says 3 unrelated students per dwelling unit. Seth Yurden said 4 throughout, not just R1 and R1A. And the problem is, some of these developers, and it's not just a single developer, have been leasing their houses to a dozen or more students. And there's a loophole. So
is it the per unit vernacular?
It's just, there doesn't seem to be any sort of, this why we have the sign.
Enforcement.
Right. There appears to be a loophole. And the loophole is you could actually have as many people living in a house as you wanted. There's no rule about how many you could have.
If you decide
in a
we're going
2-family house
to deem what a unit is, then after having that unit designation, you could have multiple units that end up having 5 units with 3 students, 15 students living in a house.
Well, the houses that we're talking about are non-conforming 2-family houses. They've been used for decades as a single-family house, but they might have a 3rd-floor in-law apartment with a small kitchen that was used at some point 30, 40, 50 years ago. But now developers can buy them and can put a dozen or more students in there. And with the loophole, it's how many is too many. Can they put 20 in there, 30 in there? There really, right now, is no limit. So we're trying to get this ordinance that was put forward by Sam Zurier passed, just have something on the books and to have a conversation.
And so it's getting a lot of pushback in certain circles from the students' rights to be able to dwell together. I mean, how do you address the opposition that say that there shouldn't be any restriction?
Right. But again, the question is, how many is too many? And you have to have that conversation. Is it okay to turn houses in neighborhoods into de facto dormitories or rooming houses? We're not saying 3 is necessarily the right number, but it is a beginning. And the City Planning Commission was in favor of passing the ordinance and said, let's pass it, and then let's study it some more. So that's not happening. It's sort of stuck at the moment.
So the problem is that it is in the stuck mode, that you are urging residents, again, all over the city who might have that proximity to student housing, that might have concerns. Again, it's not being anti-student, it's just the it's the density.
So here's the thing. We live in a student neighborhood, and we know that. We moved into a student neighborhood. We like the mix. It's fun, to live in that mixed sort of neighborhood. It's young and old and everything in between. but do you really want to live next to a dormitory?
Lots of kids coming and going, parking issues.
Parking issues, safety issues, noise issues.
Kids will be kids.
Kids will be kids, and many of us in the neighborhood have kids that age.
So it is stuck. So are you just, again, continuing to bring attention to the issue, urging people, if they have concerns, to contact their council member?
Definitely. If you have concerns, contact your council member. Let them know that you have the concerns. Tell us that you're in favor of the Sam Zurier ordinance, which is 3 unrelated students in a dwelling unit in a 2-family house. It's just a small ordinance. It's a beginning to talk about the problem, and let us know if you want a sign.
Do you know how many signs are out and about?
I do, exactly 63.
You have the numbers. You have a stack, I'm sure, of more. So I'm sure there was some disappointment because it had appeared that Councilman Yurden was looking to sort of broach it and say, well, maybe 4, move forward with it, but now that's a moot point.
You know, I can't really address the Sam Yurden issue. I can only say that we're in support of the Zurier.
Well, again, the issue's been big all across the city, but again, you've probably seen these signs. Hold it up again once more time for viewers here. Enforce zoning laws, but again, stuck right now in limbo at the city council level. But Maureen Taylor, I appreciate your taking the time to come in to talk about this issue, as it's an important one.
Thank
you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.